The middle class did. And by the way, unions built the middle class. Folks, look, we need to build our nation. We really do have to build our economy from the bottom up and the middle out, and not from the top down, because when the middle class does well, everyone does well. The poor have a shot, the rich still do very well, and the middle class have a little breathing room, as my dad would say. For decades, the backbone of America, the middle class, has been hollowed out. I mean, literally hollowed out. Good paid manufacturing jobs moved overseas because labor was cheaper and corporations went overseas. We exported jobs and imported product. Once thriving cities and towns became shadows of what they used to be. When those towns were hollowed out, something else was lost. A pride, a sense of self-esteem, a sense of self-worth. Those of you who were over 40, did you ever think we'd be in a situation where blue-collar workers are voting Republican? No, let's got to be honest, man. Because they think we forgot them. They think we don't care. They're coming back, but that's what they thought. When those jobs left, a lot were left out and left behind. A lot of them came to believe we stopped paying attention to working class the way we used to. A lot of them came to believe that the Democratic Party stopped caring about them. And lots of folks feel that way today still, but we're making inroads. We're turning it around. My first 2 years in office, we created 750,000 manufacturing jobs. And by the way, where is it written America can't lead the world again in manufacturing? Where is that written? Our economic agenda created a boom in manufacturing, from semiconductor chips to electric vehicles. Advanced batteries are going to power the vehicles, in addition to building 500,000 charging stations all across America. There have been major private investments, totaling nearly $300 billion, much of which is in just one industry, semiconductors, generating significant job opportunities in manufacturing in America. For decades, we imported products and exported jobs. Now America is exporting products and creating jobs because we're doing something that for years and years people just talked about. We're buying American. Buying American is not just, by that I mean the government is buying America. My administration, there's a law back in the early 30s that we never paid much attention to. It said when the president spends your tax dollars to put a new deck in an aircraft carrier or build a highway, it should be built by Americans and American products. Well, guess what? My administration is doing it. Buying America is a reality. We've just made a lot of progress overseas as well in the past 2 years. Jobs are up, wages are up, inflation is down, and COVID no longer controls our lives. But now the extreme MAGA Republicans in the House of Representatives have made it clear they intend to put it all at risk. They intend to destroy. No, I'm not a joke. Look, you may remember when during the off-year election I started talking about MAGA Republicans and democracy. And a lot of you thought, what the hell is he talking about? Why isn't he talking about A, B, C, or D specific issue? Well, guess what? They intend to destroy this is not your father's Republican Party. No, really, think about it. These aren't conservatives. These aren't conservatives. These are disruptive people. They intend to destroy the progress we made. Folks, as I said, this is not your father's Republican Party. Just take a look at what they're doing. They campaigned on fiscal responsibility. But the first bill to pass the House of Representatives added $114 billion to the deficit. First one. They introduced another bill to limit the President's authority over the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Because they're mad I used that authority to lower gas prices by $1.50 a gallon, period. Look, they introduced a bill. This is going to, you think I'm crazy? When I said this stuff in the off-year, people looked at me like I was nuts. They're nuts. I'm not the one. They introduced a bill that will eliminate the IRS and replace it with a 30% national sales tax. Oh, no. You heard me. 30% national sales tax. Think about that. That means 30% on groceries, gasoline, clothing, school supplies, medicine, big-ticket items like rent and cars, shifting the entire burden to the working class and middle class in America. It's not going to happen. I'm going to veto the sucker if it ever got to me. Not going to happen. I know the Republicans ran an inflation last election. I didn't know they were trying to make it worse. And, of course, as they always do, they still want to cut taxes on the wealthiest and biggest corporations. By the way, you know, the idea, you got to be kidding me, no billionaire should pay a lower tax rate than a school teacher or a firefighter, because that's what they, by the way, there's 1,000 billionaires and they pay an average of 3% in taxes. 3%. For God's name, what is this all about? Republicans keep talking about what they're going to do to Social Security and Medicare. Americans have been paying into Medicare since you got your first paycheck and you're 16 years old. And Social Security, since you started working. Well, I got a better idea. I want to strengthen Social Security and Medicare, not gut it. If people making over $400,000 a year paid at the same rate that everybody making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $139,000 a year up to, guess what? Social Security and Medicare would grow strong without cutting benefits, without raising taxes on a single person making under $400,000. Look, so let's make it real simple. If Republicans try to cut Social Security, it's not going to get by the Senate, in my view, but I'll stop them. If they try to cut Medicare, I'll stop them. I got a veto pen. They try to pass the 30% national sales tax, I'll stop them. And if they send me a national ban on the right to choose, I will stop them. Look, folks, now we're in a situation, if Republicans want to work together to find real solutions to grow manufacturing jobs, to build the strongest economy in the world and keep it that way, which we are now, where Americans are paid a fair wage, make the wealthy begin to pay their share of taxes, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm not going to let anyone use the full faith and credit of the United States as a bargaining chip, the so-called national debt. The national debt has been accumulated over 220 years. We're paying interest on that debt that was accumulated over 220 years. And guess what? We've never missed a single payment. The United States is a nation who pays its bills. And folks, for as much as we've gotten done over the past 2 years, we have some unfinished business on our agenda. We need to make the cost of insulin $35 a month for every American, including the 200,000 kids out there. We need to pass child care and family paid leave. We need to restore the expanded child tax credit to cut child poverty nearly in half. And we need to ban assault weapons and limit the number of bullets that can be in a magazine. I did it once before as a United States Senator. We'll do it again. And by the way, yesterday, just yesterday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals struck down a law that bars domestic abusers, and I wrote the Violence Against Women Act, bars domestic abusers who are under a restraining order to stay away from the woman or child they abused from possessing a firearm. They struck it down. And by the way, they're 8 times as likely to get shot if you're in that situation. Look, the court struck down a common sense law that's been in the books for 30 years. They're saying it's okay for someone under a restraining order for threatening their partner or their child to own a firearm. It's outrageous. It's dangerous. Abusers are 5 times more likely to kill his female victim if he's armed with a gun. I respect the right of responsible gun owners, but someone who has threatened or beaten a domestic partner is not a responsible gun owner. And the court should be on the side of the victims of domestic violence, not on the side of the abusers. Look, It's an example of why it's so important. We've confirmed nearly 100 federal judges in just 2 years. We're committed to keeping up the pace. We need to codify Roe v. Wade. We need to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights and Advancement Act. And the Freedom to Vote Act. And the tragic death of Tyree Nichols. We're reminded once again, we have to pass safeguards that were built into the George Floyd Policing Act. This is what I did on the federal level. I signed the strongest executive order ever to reform federal police practices. I did my job. How many more horrible tragedies? How many more ghastly videos do we have, needless death do we have to see before Congress steps up and does its job? Folks, I truly believe we're living at an inflection point in modern history. It comes along every 4 or 5 generations, where what happens in a short period of time in a country or around the world has a fundamental effect for the next 3 to 4 decades. Whether we're talking about dealing with the climate crisis. Look, if we don't move on the climate crisis, we're going to see the North Pole, as the kids would say. We're going to see those glaciers melting. You're going to see sea levels rising up to 3 feet. That means we carry a heavy responsibility, and it means we have an extraordinary opportunity as well. An extraordinary opportunity to build the future we want for our children and our grandchildren. It hadn't been available to us in the past. Extraordinary opportunity to build America and a world that's more fair and just and more free. And that fills me with optimism. I don't want to keep you standing much longer. Just say one more thing. You know what? America is back and we're leading the world again. We are. We've united Europe. We've united Asia, Japan. Japan is doing more than it's ever done. We have AUKUS, dealing with everything from Australia to India. We're uniting the world. In fact, I've never been more optimistic about America's future than I am today. I've always believed you could define America in one world. I spent a lot of time with Xi Jinping when I was vice president the last couple of years, and Barack asked me to spend time with him because we knew he was going to be president. It wasn't appropriate for a president to be spending all the time. No, I mean it sincerely. So I traveled 17,000 miles with him. I met with him more than any other world leader, now over 80 hours, 68 of which were in person, just me and an interpreter and he having a simultaneous interpreter. We were in the Tibetan plateau, and he looked at me and said, "Can you define America for me?" And I mean it sincerely. Give me my word as a Biden. I said, "Yes, one word. Possibilities." That's why we, in many cases, we're viewed as the ugly Americans, because we think anything is possible. No, I really mean it. Think about it. Can you name me one major initiative we united to do as Americans and we didn't get done? I mean one. Folks, look. I still believe that today. That there's literally nothing we can't do if we put our mind to it. Just remember who in God's name we are. We're the United States of America. Nothing is beyond our nothing's beyond our capacity. And we're the only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis stronger than before we went in. And that's what we're doing now. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
little bass. Jerry, one time. This is how we refugee camp. Yeah.
Everybody got a breaking point, kid, and they'll rat on you. The family niggas will rat on you. That's why we gotta be prepared to take whoever out we need. One, two, three, four.
Don't you know that I danced to the border of the street, or in the head that night, the daddy deep, he was swinging on the sax with the girls or two, and I was dancing all over the room. Don't you know the people were dancing like they were ready, swinging this band they had ever had, and swinging this song they could ever be. It was a night with a daddy G. Let me tell you that I never had it so good. Yeah, I know you never did until you get that kind of with that jive. I think a man like the church street vibe. Don't you know that I danced till the quarter to three, or in the head that night with daddy G. Everybody was as happy as they could be, but they were swinging with my daddy G. I'm not daddy. I'm so sweet daddy. Yeah, 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 yeah. I just a little bit of soul now. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you that